Quick, choose something you roll out and just bake, or something you make by hand and it comes out tasting great. I'm sure you can tell by the picture that we're going to make a dessert this time. We're going to make some cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls. So of course the first thing we're going to need is dough. Now I took this out of the freezer. It was leftover dough. You got to give it a good 12 to 16 hours to thaw out. Once it got around 12 hours, I took it out of the Ziploc and put it in a bowl, let it rise a little bit. Then I pulled it out, added a little flour and flipped it upside down. Now I'm going to let it rise again, covered of course, for about 2-3 hours as I get everything ready to roll. Of course, we're going to need other ingredients to go with it. So here's what we need: brown sugar, icing sugar, vanilla, real or fake, depending on what you've got, cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and some butter and cream cheese. So I took the butter and cream cheese. It's got to be at room temperature. It's got to be soft. So I took it and just put it in the pie tin I had the dough in to let it sit. So here we go. The dough's ready to rock and roll now. It's sat long enough. Now we gotta make it into something workable. So I floured this cookie sheet. You could use a table if you want, or a mat. I didn't want to use my table, and I don't really have a mat. So the idea here is you pull out your dough and you're going to form it into basically the shape of that pan. The easiest method, of course, is you take a rolling pin and roll it out, which I went and did, once I got it ready to roll. I thought, this will be nice and easy, away we go. The problem I didn't think of was, well, the pan's got edges on it. It made it really difficult to roll sideways. So I did what I could with it, and then I just went to using my fingers to pull it out, and here's the end result. It looks pretty close to what I needed it to be. From there we need the cinnamon topping, which is real simple. It's 1 cup of brown sugar and 3 good tablespoons of cinnamon. I thought that seemed a little light on the cinnamon, but it was perfect. It was actually perfect. I thought I was going to have to use that whole jar. Nope, I got lots left over for the next time. And very simply, you want your brown sugar to be mushy and soft and ready to mix. And you're just going to mix all that cinnamon up until it's all well incorporated. And from there, we got to get it ready to go on the dough. So one of the things of softened butter, one of the sticks, I'm going to use here. And with the dough, you're going to spread it out more or less like you would a grilled cheese, maybe a little more butter, because the idea is you're going to make that sugar and cinnamon mixture stick to the dough. Just remember, you want to make sure that the butter covers all the top of the dough. That way you get a nice an even stick, I guess you would say. Well, I didn't think I would use the whole stick of butter, but by the time I was done, even trying to be frugal, just to cover it all properly, I pretty well used it all. The next thing we're going to do is take the brown sugar cinnamon mixture, and we're going to sprinkle it on the dough. And I was trying to go a little light with it. I wasn't sure how this was going to work out, but it wasn't that hard to do. It was just, keep it as even as you can. Make sure you cover everything. And there you have it. That's what it should look like when you're done. I had a little bit left over. I'll save that for a rainy day. Now, the lengthwise, you're going to roll this basically into a cinnamon roll. It's a little tricky, not difficult, just tricky. You just got to take your time and roll it all up little by little, and make sure that you at least floured the bottom of the pan so that it doesn't get all sticky as you're rolling it. And it doesn't really take a whole lot of effort to do. You just Start at one end and kind of roll a bit and don't overdo it, and just keep going like I'm doing here. And eventually you end up getting to the end. See, there you go. Now, it is important not to wrap it too tight, or so my instructions told me. So you want to roll it, but not super rolly. So I've got a glass pan. We're going to grease it, just so nothing sticks to the bottom. And a little bit did, but it wasn't bad. And then we're going to carefully cut this into 12 rolls. I used a butter knife. I think in retrospect, I probably should have used something a little sharper. You want about 1 to 1.5 inches. Should do it. Kind of eyeball it and you should be fine. See how it's a little stretchy there. And they kind of mooshed around a little bit, but at the end we got it to where it needed to be. Now we just got to lay these puppies into the pan. Oh yeah, don't forget to preheat your oven before you start doing this, or you're going to have to wait even longer for these things. They smell great even though they're dough right now. But we've got 12 of them. They'll all fit in that pan. You don't want to squish them together though, because they are going to expand. We're going to let them sit for a half an hour, and then we're going to bake them. And both times they will rise. Not so much the sitting part, but I tried to get them spread out as much as possible. We covered them up, let them sit for half an hour. Well, there you go. They rose a little bit, but not a whole lot, so into the oven they go to bake. Well, now we've got to make the icing that goes on top. So we've got another stick of butter, softened of course. My cream cheese, which is supposed to be about 1/3 cup. I think I'm close, maybe a little short. Still tasted good. And then carefully, without spraying it all over the place, we want about 1.5 cups of icing sugar. So we did that, and without a mess? Yeah, without a mess. How about that? Hooray for me. And we also have to put about 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm not really sure why, but okay. And a teaspoon of vanilla. Now, my daughter said, don't just put in one, double up whatever it calls for. Okay, she's more a baker than I am, so I doubled her up, and it worked out just fine. Now, get your hand mixer ready because we're going to mix it. So I did it on slow so I didn't spray everything all over the place. Slowly let it incorporate, little by little. I mean, I just want to go nuts, but you can't. And it doesn't take long, 30 seconds, 45 seconds tops, and you've got it pretty well incorporated. And from that point, you can crank up the speed and give it a good mix. The idea with this is you want it to be nice and silky smooth. And silky smooth it shall be. So we've got it at about a medium mix right now. And I'm going to crank it up to high for the last few seconds just to get it nice and poofy and smooth and yummy looking. Okay, we'll set this icing aside. We're going to pull the cinnamon rolls out of the oven. Don't those look good? Oh, it smells so good around the house. And we let them cool for about 10 minutes before I actually iced them. You can do it right off the bat, but I find they just drip and they don't really stick that well. So this way, they're still warm. The icing will kind of melt around and look good. And it's just like the topping too. On the cherry on the top, it's just, oh. You think it looks good in the video? You should try it in person. Oh man, oh man, oh man. That was well worth the effort I put into to make these. And, I thought I might have had a little too much icing, but, the icing was right on too. So, about the only thing I had a lot of was the cinnamon sugar. And like I said, I can use that later. But here you go. There's my Cinnabon Cinnamon Rolls, and boy, oh boy, they are bang on. I couldn't get enough of them. Cinnamon rolls. They were fun to make and they were great to eat. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this as all the other ones. Leave me a comment. Leave me ideas below. I'd sure like it. If you want to share this, be my guest. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell. That'll tell you the next time I upload a video, usually once a week. And as always, till the next time, bye for now.